we brought peace by war. And I think this is something which also should be evaluated broader than just a local situation in the Caucasus. How to achieve peace by military means. For many years, during the times of negotiations, times of occupation, I heard from Minsk Group co-chairs, 3 of them, in one voice, saying that there is no military solution to the conflict. And it happened that they were wrong, all the 3, despite history of statehood, despite great international experience, despite being permanent members of UN Security Council, they were wrong. So I think that either they just were wrong because of wrong assessment, or it was a kind of a message to Azerbaijan that you will not succeed if you reside to a non-peaceful scenario. But we proved that there is a military solution to the conflict. So conflict is resolved. Actually, conflict was resolved 3 years ago when we liberated a big part of the occupied territories. And restoration of our sovereignty was just a matter of time. And it was clear that in the current, at that time, geographical situation, so-called Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, which has not been recognized even by Armenia, has no chance to survive as so-called independent quasi-state. They had 2 chances, either to integrate with the rest of Azerbaijan or to go to history. So I clearly realized that at that time. And one of the reasons why we were not in a hurry was that I clearly realized that, okay, 5 years' time, and we will achieve what we want. So anti-terror operation was not planned by us in November 2020. That's what I can say very openly. So war as a facilitator to peace, I think, is a clear evidence that it is possible. Another thing is with respect to the formal peace, and I think that you mentioned particularly that, peace agreement. And I would say that it's also, I think, must be analyzed by international experts also, that a country which suffered the 30 years of occupation, devastation, total destruction of its territory, ethnic cleansing and genocide, right after the liberation by itself, not by international mediators, offered peace. So it was us who offered peace to Armenia. And I remember after the war, when at that time still this former Minsk group was coming and going, I felt that they themselves do not know what to do, because their job now is not needed any longer. Azerbaijan implemented most of the provisions of so-called Madrid principles, which were considered as a basis for settlement, and they just didn't know what to do. It was again Azerbaijan. We said, we need to have peace agreement. We said, we need to have commissions on delimitation. It was not Armenia, it was not Brussels, it was not Washington, Paris, or Moscow. It was us. And that's how the process started. Then we've seen that nothing happens, so we decided to elaborate the principles for peace agreement. And we elaborated them and sent them to Armenia. And then again it was silence. And then we made it public. So we made public those famous 5 principles, which Armenia seems now more ready to accept. If they accepted them, or basically accepted them 3 years ago, there'll be no need for anti-terror operation. So this is, again, the history, but we must know. So it demonstrates that Azerbaijan was an advocate for peace, not Armenia. Another example of just recent months, there have been 5 or 6 exchanges of comments to the original Azerbaijani draft. Armenian comments, Azerbaijani comments, pieces of disagreement, agreement. Several times foreign ministers met in different places. And the last comment we sent was 11 September. So just for more, detailed information about what this peace agreement is, it's a document of maybe 6-7 pages maximum, with less than 20 articles. So for such a small document, Armenia needed 70 days, 7-0, to respond to us. And they responded only after Azerbaijani foreign minister publicly disclosed that, look, we are waiting for 2 months. Why don't you respond? So this shows that the side which delayed the process is not Azerbaijan, it is Armenia. Why they delayed, I don't know. Whether it was their own decision or they were advised, but their new friends in some European capitals, I don't know, I can only suspect. But the fact is that the comments which we sent on 11 September, we received on 21st November. So now our foreign ministry is evaluating those comments and will send back. And I think after that, the meeting of foreign ministers will be appropriate, because now we see that still we are not close to the consensus, but many important issues which Armenia insisted on in the beginning now do not exist any longer. They do not exist on the ground, and they do not exist in their comments. I don't want to go much into the details because you understand it's confidential document, but I think now we are making one more step. But again, Azerbaijan was initiator. Azerbaijan was a country which actually demonstrated its will, and I hope that it will not take much time to come to an agreement.